Welcome, Tim. Thanks for joining me on the show. How's it going in Queensland?
Thanks, mate. Thanks for having me. Yeah, it's going pretty good of late. With the whole COVID situation, we're just well, me personally, I'm just staying planted and not doing much at all. Playing a few pro-ams here and there, but other than that, mate, not much is going on.
Yeah, we're talking before we started recording here. Like Queensland life is pretty much normal. It's kind of doesn't feel like there's a pandemic or there's a huge COVID crisis going on. Yeah, it must be pretty hard to stay motivated and kind of keep yourself busy while we're kind of waiting.
Yeah, mate, it is. It's obviously a lot harder for you guys down there, but like you said, it's been 4 or 5 months now where we haven't really even it hasn't affected us at all. We've been out doing what we need to do, guys. If you got a job, you go work. If you want to play golf, you go play golf. No one's wearing masks. It's just like normal life um, for us up here. So I guess the motivation level is again, that's still pretty hard to find the motivation to play or to practice for these events. Like we've had that one event in Darwin a couple of weeks ago, and I did a lot of practice leading up to that and didn't play very very well up there. So it's just I guess I'm just finding it hard to even practice for the smaller events like the pro-ams and things like that. Just because with the news the last few weeks with all the events being canned and just not much to look forward to next year, which makes it very difficult.
Yeah, we're so used to a structure of a full season. We can pretty much plan like January 1, what we're going to do, how many weeks a year we're going to go. We're going to chase the pro-ams, or we're going to play as many 4 rounders as we can. But yeah, this year's a year like no other. And I think kind of, looking back on it, we're obviously been in lockdown in Victoria for the whole year. It literally feels like, I played my first game of golf today and it's been well over 3 months. But yeah, that outlook moving forward, it's like, how do we stay motivated, looking into 2021, and how do we get to the PGA Tour from here? Even the European Tour, that our avenues have been a kind of cut off for the time being. What's have you got any plans to, how do you get from here to, the PGA Tour for you?
Mate, I've actually had a little think about it sort of the last month, just with everything that's gone on here. I'm thinking about probably going to America. I'm not sure, when next year, but probably April, May or something. And because they're still going ahead with a lot of tournaments, even if it's to start with a few pay to plays and find my feet over there or whatever. But I think it's either that where you got to sort of go chase the tournaments overseas where they are still playing, or just reskill and get a job back
Mm,
here. But I feel like I'm a golfer at heart, and that's what I do.
mm.
So I feel like my game suits the American style of golf. So if I go over there and back myself to play good or play in whatever I play in, I know I can get some results. And then you never know from there if you try and play a few Mondays for the web.com events, or I can shoot a low number here and there and hopefully get in one of them, and you just never know
Mm.
from there.
Yeah, absolutely. You're obviously great at shooting a low number, especially in the pro-ams. I'm always kind of, especially last year, looking at which one's Tim playing, what's the course like. He's obviously going to shoot 10 under, so I'm going to try shoot around there. But yeah, it's our opportunity has obviously been cut short this year, and it looks like next year we might have a smaller schedule. And the US is definitely still has all those opportunities, especially on those smaller tier 2, tier 3 tours. And kind of looks like the only option right now. Even on the European tour, it kind of looks like they're rolling their categories over for the next couple years. So it might even be tougher to break into that. Or you kind of alluded to before, it's we're stuck with a couple of options here, whether we reskill, get a real job, or we stick out this journey where we try get onto the PGA Tour, which looks like the premier tour right now.
Yeah, I mean, you said it. it's just the way it is. I think me personally, I've just found a way to sort of just play it like it is what it is, sort of scenario.
Mm,
There's no point trying to fight it, especially in this country at the moment. I feel like, say America, like they've got the COVID thing. They
mm.
haven't got it under wraps at all, but they're still going on with like golf tournaments, and Europe, the European tour are doing the same thing, and everyone's trying to make it work. I'm sure the guys here in Australia are doing their best to do that.
Mm.
Unfortunately, it's just not working down here at the moment. So, but yeah, I'm not ready to be a brickie or anything like that. I'm gonna keep
Yeah.
going and have a crack overseas.
Yeah, before we get too far ahead of ourselves, we were talking before, and you said you were doing a bit of labouring for a bit. How was that? A real labouring?
Yeah, yeah, I did it for a couple of weeks. Yeah, it's a lot different, obviously, than hitting a little golf ball around. But yeah, I did it for a week or two, and then, funnily enough, injured my right forearm, a nerve in my forearm, and I was out for nearly 3 months. I couldn't sort of use my right arm, so yeah, it didn't last long in the labouring, scene. So yeah, that was probably an omen not to go back.
Yeah, definitely. Probably a sign telling you you're a golfer. Go ahead with that. But yeah, it's kind of like that right now. Just do what you need to do to get through to the next little thing, and hopefully news and events and opportunities pop up. But before we try to kind of discuss that, we're going to want to go back to the Aussie Junior in 2006 at Toowoomba. We played together for the first time. We've played a lot of times over the years, but that was the first time we played together. You were representing New South Wales at the time, so it's kind of weird to see you a Queenslander now. You're both sides of the fence. Who do you go for in the Origin, and what's the deal there?
Queensland, always have, ever
Okay.
since I was a young kid. Don't know why. I think my old man said when I was about 5 or 6, I just started going for Queensland, and the Broncos, Brisbane Broncos. So yeah, good 25 years now. I've been a Queenslander at heart.
Mhm.
I was born down, on the other side of the border, but it was pretty much in Victoria. So I'll just say I'm a Victorian slash Queenslander.
Just an East Coaster. That's about it. just just an East Coaster. It's funny. My dad, he's obviously a Kiwi, and he got in real early. Like I've always supported the All Blacks, but born here, kind of my friends give me a lot of stick because I go for I support the Aussie cricket team, but I go for the All Blacks. So it's kind of like you can't just pick all the winners, mate. You need to need to stick true to one country or something like that.
Yeah, 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 absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah. Well, like I'm glad we ironed that out with the whole Queensland thing. But how have how has you were 17 at the time playing an Aussie junior, your aspirations to kind of zoom into a professional career, how and if it has changed your aspirations at 17 to where they are right now in 2020?
Oh, of course, mate. Yeah, it's changed a lot in regards to, when you're a young fella and you're coming up through the junior ranks, the amateur ranks. All you sort of focus on is, I guess, at the time, is trying to get into, state teams and national teams, and represent your state and your country in amateur events. And then you get to the stage where you want to play pro events as an amateur, and try and see how you go against the pros, and see if you're good enough to go out there on tour. um, I guess I think I turned pro when I was about 22,
Mm,
maybe 21, 22. Bit prematurely, I feel. I sort of just did it before an event, and I'd made a few cuts as an amateur and thought it was just an easy transition to just go straight into pro events. And yeah, I learned the hard way. I didn't have a tour card the first year I played.
mm,
Played bad at Q school, which then determined the whole year.
mm,
Um, which then just you're pre-qualifying for every event, which wasn't cheap either when you're
mm,
not a member of the tour.
mm,
And yeah, it was a pretty big learning curve straight off the bat as a pro. Um, and then yeah, I guess just as time goes on, you obviously learn and grow each and every year, each and every tournament you play. And I guess now it's more to the point where I've been through a lot, sort of mentally, and since I was a young fella, but the last few years I've been through quite a bit mentally, and I've just got a different outlook on, um, the way everything in life, but the way to go about, I guess, how you go about your pro career as well, and
Mm,
how you deal with everything and your emotions and all that. I just feel I'm a lot. My saying these days is pretty much it is what it is in
mm.
regards to everything. I just if it's the COVID thing or if it's anything, I just don't. I'm just good at not sort of worrying about it anymore because you can't really change anything that's going to happen um, externally. So I just
Yeah.
let it go.
Well, yeah, it seems like you had a, like a revelation or a big tipping point kind of thing, over the last couple of years. If you want to talk about that experience and, how that's kind of really shaped your thinking moving forward now.
Yeah, mate. I went through a pretty rough time a couple of years ago. I got diagnosed with mental illness, some anxiety and depression sort of things, and that really knocked me back and made me realize things in life. For me personally, they just don't matter like they used to,
Mm.
as much as your own mental health. So that's for me. It's just that's the number one thing now I look out for. Anything I do, if it's anyone I converse with or really anything I do in my life, I sit back and take a think about how that's going to affect my mental health first.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, I guess I'm just going through like sort of a spiritual awakening of
Yeah.
sorts for now, which is kind of cool. Again, it's just shows me a completely different perspective of sort of why we're here and what we're doing on this planet. And yeah, I'm just sort of enjoying that process and learning to just you know be more calm and just like enjoying my own space, I guess.
Yeah, I think, coming to that, that's a big moment in itself. You talk about it's not a setback. I think owning, what we are and who we are, that's the first or second step in kind of really defining what we do next. I think a lot of people take a lot longer than they should, or you kind of get it when you get it. That's kind of how I feel about it. But is it more like a book you're reading or a course you're doing to, this whole spiritual awakening?
Yeah, I'm doing a sort of a YouTube slash. It's like a Netflix sort of. It's called Gaia. It's like a
Mm,
spirituality, like Netflix type
mm,
thing. And yeah, I'm just doing it through a guy called Dr. Joe Dispenza. It's called Rewired.
mhm,
Just about rewiring your subconscious, and because you're sort of from when you're a kid to whatever age you are, it's just built up. It's just a program that's been built up since you were a young fella.
mm.
Just your modalities and stuff like that. So I'm just to get to where I've been and the dark places that I have been, to go and do this. I'm really proud of myself for doing it,
Mm.
because the alternative wasn't great. So I'm sort of just really doing that every day. I'll meditate. I meditate up to 2 or 3 hours a day now, every day, every morning, every night, um, and just a lot of breathing exercises, just a lot of little things that help, sort of, you know, me personally, and I know that they do. And I even journal and I do all these little things that I feel that people might think it's whatever, but for me, I know it's helping me in the long term.
You've definitely, I kind of going back and in a couple of years when I think we played together in a final round Q School 2018 at Mona Links. I think we
Yep.
might have both just got our card, or you might have just
Yeah.
missed,
Just
or we both we're right around the edge of kind of getting through the number. And yeah, speaking to you today, just your whole outlook and how much at peace you're with yourself is, a full 180. That's kind of how I'm, receiving this right now. But it's great to see. I think I don't think we should ever feel bad for journaling or, meditating. There's no stigma around, especially men's mental health is obviously, at the forefront of a lot of issues, and it's more accepted now. We still have a long way to go with all that speaking up and having these deep conversations with, friends and all that stuff. And personally, I, you know, I used to call it word vomit. I just get on my Microsoft Word and just kind of jot all this stuff down. That's probably a big reason why I started this podcast to, get a bit better at speaking, because I don't know, kind of put it all together. But this is my long form of journaling for me personally. So it's great to hear another person, someone I call a friend, to, find that peace with themselves. And you've got all these tools and resources, around you now.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's definitely a journey. Well, thanks for calling me your mate too. That's good to hear.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
definitely,
yeah,
definitely.
no, yeah, the journey I'm on. It's something that's, yeah. I mean, I can never go back to where I was, and I
Mm,
know if I don't do these things, then I might slip back into that sort of mind frame or mindset, and I never want to go back there. So these are pretty much like a staple for me now. Like the meditating and that, it's like brushing my teeth.
mm.
If I don't do them, then I know it's not going to help me. So
Yeah, so creating those new habits, how was that at the beginning? Obviously, a lot of things take time, and was it like a 28-day process where you kind of see things and stuff like that?
yeah, mate, it's not easy. It's definitely not
Mm,
easy. Firstly, you got to sort of forget your old self. So you got to forget all the habits that you did have
mm,
before you sort of can create the new ones.
mm,
So that's probably the hardest bit is through like I said, meditation, hypnosis, all these different avenues I've been through to do that. It does take a fair while. It doesn't just happen overnight, um, and it's hard to say when they when you when you sort of feel that the habits have gone away, or you've got rid of the old habits, or the new habits have set in.
mm,
But over time, it's hard. Yeah, like I said, it's hard to say, but I mean, day by day, you're not going to. I don't feel any different, sort of day by day. But like I said, I'll journal and I'd say how I felt at the start of what I was doing, and then say 2 months down the track, I'd look back at that and then write what I feel at that moment, and it's completely different. So that's where I
mm,
know that I've improved. And then just feeling generally better within myself. I don't have any more sort of anxiety episodes or panic attacks or anything like
mm,
that, which I used to have quite often. Just based off, and that's all from personal, I guess, self harm in a word. So like when you're playing golf, and every time you negatively, beat yourself up,
mm,
you don't actually understand how much that's doing to your mental health long term.
mm,
Um, and then, yeah, just sort of, I've just really changed my ways, especially on the golf course as well.
mm,
It's just completely changed my outlook on, if you do hit a bad shot, like it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. It's like I'm walking down a beautiful fairway, and I can look at the trees and hear the birds chirping, and you know, okay, I might have gone in the water and you take a drop and you make a six or a double. It doesn't matter. You
mm.
just, at the end of the day, if I feel healthy, and that makes me happy, and for me, that's number one.
That's so great to hear. Like seriously, like to come from where you have to here, that's amazing. That's a story that you can be very proud of, and your journey where you're ticking. I'm sure you've got other goals you want to get further to, and you just want to keep going and keep bettering yourself every day. Any idols or people, mentors you kind of looking up to right now?
Um, Tyson Fury,
Mm,
the world heavyweight champion,
mm-hmm,
just from the same thing. If anyone doesn't know or hasn't heard about his story, I suggest you go listen to his podcast with Joe Rogan.
mm-hmm,
It only goes for about 2 hours, just to hear him talk about what he's been through, and very similar things to me. I mean, he's obviously world heavyweight champion of the world boxing, but just the way he conveys his message to everyone else, what he's been through, and then how he's trying to help everyone that are going through similar things. For me, is just it's priceless. And
mm.
yeah, he would definitely be, I guess, a mentor or someone I definitely look up to in that regard.
Yeah, well, hopefully when borders and flights are start going around the world again, get to meet him, get to, I think that's important as well. Like you get your opportunities. Like, mate, I listen to all your stuff. Like I'm hanging out to meet Gary V or David Goggins or someone like
Yeah,
that. You just really their story catches onto you. Like I even Richie McCaw to a sense for me. I just really like, geez,
yeah,
you really you did it. Or like Michael Hussey, like all stuff like that you
yeah,
idolize as a kid. And
yeah,
I think, yeah, I definitely think that's very important. But yeah, that's awesome. That's really, really, really happy to hear that for you. And kind of looking forward more into the pro am. Looking forward to you just. I think you need to have those tools around you to kind of cope with these long pro am weeks. Well, obviously pre-COVID and stuff, but yeah, it was. I think a lot of professional golfers could benefit that from that as well.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, obviously we've all played pro-ams, and we know, some days you get guys that are, no good at golf, and you sort
Mm,
of feel like you're babysitting for six hours a day, and you're out there trying to make a quid, and the guys are there drinking 10 beers and
yeah.
having a fun day. But I mean, it is what it is. Again, it's just if that's all we can do at the moment, then that's just how it is. And I've always enjoyed playing pro-ams. They're
Mm,
very good for the golf in Australia. I think
mm,
we do need them, especially for guys that well, when COVID wasn't on, but guys that are overseas and they come back and want to keep their game sharp, or even for young guys coming through and want to see where they're at in the pro ranks. But yeah, I'm always going to support pro-ams if when I'm in the country. I do play a lot of them.
mm.
I do travel a lot to play them, and I feel like it's a thing that I enjoy doing. And I know every pro doesn't enjoy them, but I mean, again, it just is what it is. I think
Mm.
I enjoy them. So
Yeah, I think. Well, for me personally, there was the first full year of pro-ams last year, and I thoroughly enjoyed them. You kind of get to meet a new. It's like a lucky dip every day. You get to new three playing partners, and they'll if you have a good round with them, happen to have a good round with them, they'll always remember you for the next years, and you get a good group. They help you put you up somewhere for the night or the week or wherever you go. So it's a great opportunity, especially grassroots golf, building a lot of these country courses up. They look forward to these bigger events every year and seeing great shots. Every time you go somewhere, it's like, oh, Tim Hart, went over that line and that's the line on this hole. But yeah, I think it's definitely important. I hope looking forward into 2021 that we have, a premier pro-am circuit. If that is what they can come up with, I'd totally endorse it. I think it might be tough to get a lot of these four rounders, especially the bigger $1 million plus events, because obviously they need that amount of international players to kind of sell it to the sponsors. Or I don't want to get too technical about it, but you see a lot of stuff on what's coming through with all the cancellations, and I'm not in the inner circle with the PGA, so I can't comment on that. But I'm kind of like yourself. We kind of sit on the outside and have a bit of a watch, and hopefully that they are doing the right thing. And I'm sure they are. They're doing the best they can with getting events for us in an avenue onto a bigger tour. But it is definitely just a waiting game.
it is. It definitely is. Yeah, I don't have much comment on that. Like
Mm,
you said, we're both pretty similar in that regard. We'll just sit
mm,
back and see what happens rather than try and put our foot down and make things happen. I mean, we're not sort of in a position to do that anyway. I don't feel
mm.
um, at this stage. So I'm quite happy sitting back and just seeing what happens and just going with the flow, I guess.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Before we skip past all the pro-ams, 59 last year in a pro-am. How was that? Were you nervous going down the last? Let's talk about the last hole.
I was, yeah, yeah. So I was, what was I 13? So I got to 13 under, which was 59 watch. So I just needed to par the last for a 59, and it was a short par three, about 130 meters, I reckon.
Hmm.
Small green, but I was like, just hit a little wedge there. Don't try and get too aggressive with a 52. And I've literally nearly shanked this wedge, like just short right of the green, whiffed it completely, and then chipped it up to about 5 foot and had a 5 footer, obviously known as for 59, and just didn't hit a great putt, to be fair, and it just sort of snuck in the left edge and dropped. And great feeling, obviously. Yeah, it was.
Mm,
Played well all day to, obviously to get to that position, and just to, I guess, yeah, even hold that putt, even though it wasn't the best stroke I ever put on a putt. It was nice to see it go in, and then
mm,
yeah, went on to shoot another decent score the next day and win the tournament. So that, I mean, that was
mm,
a better thing all about it. But it was nice to shoot that 59, yeah, because I've sort of had a few chances now to do that, and
mm.
it was good to finally get it over the line.
Yeah, I'm not even close to that yet. 62 is my best. So I kind of just trying to build myself up back up to under par today. I think I lost a couple of balls, but we'll hopefully by the end of the year I'll start breaking 70 again. That's where I'm looking for. But yeah.
Yeah.
What's your favorite run of pro-ams? Is it the WA swing? You like your Queensland stuff?
Probably the Queensland stuff, just because I play well on it. Like,
Mm,
obviously, I've played amateur golf here now well, I grew up playing amateur golf here, and then all the
mm,
pro events, I just practice here, and it's with all the grain and stuff. I just feel comfortable
mm,
um, on the courses up here. So, I mean, I guess the best stretch for me personally with results would be the mining towns
mm,
series up north in the middle of nowhere.
mm,
Um, just courses that really suit me. They're wide, they're not very long. So if you've got your driver on, if I'm sort of hitting driver well, you can take advantage quite easily with them. I mean,
mm,
obviously not the best courses or anything, but same thing. Just the people are good. You go back every year and the same people are there, and they're always so happy to see you. And
mm,
like you said before, it's just great to go back to even out in the middle of nowhere and see people that appreciate it, and do everything they can to you know start pro-ams or get pro-ams up and support golf in the country. So yeah, and don't get me wrong, I do like all the other courses down south as well, but there's
mm.
no place like Queensland.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Well, yeah, I'm WA biased, so I love going down to Margaret River and having a whack
Yeah,
around there. But yeah, it's just because I played all my junior golf down there. I guess it's more of a memory lane kind of thing. But yeah, it kind of hopefully 2021 looks a little bit brighter than 2020, and 2020 wasn't that bad. I think a lot of people had the time to really reflect and really work on themselves and kind of put all their values back into the right boxes where they need to be. And I think that's something that can't be overlooked.
yeah, totally agree. Totally
Mm.
agree.
Yeah, that's it's not time wasted. I don't think, and it's definitely helped you by the sounds, and me. It's kind of got me back and get my brain thinking over again. But yeah, really, really, really appreciate you sharing your mental health journey. That's a special thing, and I think it takes a lot of courage to even come out and speak about it, even own it, even reach out for help. I think that's a huge step in itself. And yeah, I'm just felt very privileged to hear your journey so far, and I really look forward to seeing the rest of it and where it ends up. Hopefully in the US when we can get you over there, because your game's definitely suited for the US.
Yeah. Oh, I appreciate that, mate. Yeah, I mean, it's something I'm not scared to talk about it anymore. I was when it first happened, but yeah, I really appreciate those words, mate.
Mate, anytime, anytime. We'll get to the one question because I'm sure you're dying to ask me something.
One question. Jeez. Who'd you play golf with today?
Well, actually, really funny. Not funny actually. I was playing. I had four in the group, and everyone pulled out, and I was the first off. So I was like, it's the first day I can actually play golf, so I'm gonna play. So I played by myself at 7:20, and
Nice.
I was done at 10 o'clock. That took me to just over 2.5 hours.
So who were these guys that pulled the pin?
Burdett pulled out, so he's gonna. That's strike one. Probably strike two for him. But
Sweet.
yeah, a couple other guys. I just couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it. I
Wow.
was like, "What do you mean? We're playing at Peninsula Kingswood. There's the greens. They've just caught everything. No one's really been on the course. There wasn't. I didn't see a pitch mark or a divot today. We don't have rakes and bunkers because it's a whole COVID thing. So you just sit it up when you like. But yeah, nothing. It was honestly the course to myself this morning, and I wasn't gonna um, not have that opportunity to do it. But yeah, Mr. Loner one ball, but I don't look at it that way. Kind of had my own time to have the morning to myself. So I really enjoyed it. I'm playing tomorrow with hopefully a playing partner. Maybe he'll pull out. I'll check my messages and then he'll pull out for tomorrow. But yeah, I'm just enjoying playing golf again. That's for me for sure.
Yeah, good, mate. If I was down there, I would have had a hit with you, 100%.
Well,
So
good to hear, mate. Jeez, I don't know. I must have ticked off some people. Jeez. Maybe I think we're all maybe everyone in 2020 in Victoria. Everyone's just enjoying their own time now. It's like, oh, I have to socialize. It's exhausting.
yeah, probably. I mean, I can't speak for any of you guys down there, but I mean, I've spoken to Gibbo, James Gibbolini, obviously, and
Yep.
I sort of forget about it, and then I'll talk to him, and through that sort of the last 4 or 5 months, and he'll just say, like, he still can't even leave the house, and I'm out doing whatever I want, and another month goes by, and we have the same conversation, and he's saying the same thing. I'm like, us people up here, we sort of just forget about it,
Mm,
what's actually going on down there, which
mm.
is good for us, but yeah, not so much good for you guys.
Oh,
But it's
it's
good to see
okay.
you.
Yeah,
You know,
it's okay. We've wrote it out. If one state had to get it, that's fine. If the whole country was fine, it's just kind of we went from 750 plus cases a day to now we've had 0 cases for 10 days, which is pretty monumental for like all the testing that's being done and kind of writing out this plan. But it looks like we're going to have a COVID normal Christmas, so I'm sure a lot of other states in Australia are going to be pretty happy with that when they can come in here. But I don't know if people want to come in here if they have to wear a mask. So
yeah, I don't think so, mate. I think everyone's coming up north to Queensland from the. Every time I've gone over the border, there's just cars are just lined up for kilometres. So they're probably all the people from Sydney and whatnot coming up here, and they're just going to stay up here.
the
They've got
Sunshine State.
you know, it's the best state in the country, so it is what it is, right?
Well, I can't endorse that. Sorry, I'm not going to do that. But I definitely do still love Victoria. I'm looking forward to some footy next year, hopefully. But absolute pleasure, Timmy. Thanks for taking the time to have a chat today.
No worries. Thanks, mate.